It's another day, a special day again. Today's Friday, the 16th of September 2022, and another day of expectations. Thank you all for joining me. My name is Kelechi Ambrose. I want to greet you all, Biafrans and lovers of freedom all over the nations of the world, wherever you are. And I want to appreciate you for clicking on this and also being part of, listening and watching to be able to get informed about the things that are happening around us. Please, I want you also to try to subscribe to this channel and then post the video to all your social media platforms, because we're going to be talking about some sensitive things that our people need to know, and our people need to understand. Of course, basically, you that is watching me today may have, a good understanding of what's going on, and you may have, your perception about a good perception about what is happening and all the betrayals and other things that are going on. But we have lots of people out there who actually need to understand this, especially those of our people who are not easily able to reason properly to understand the events of things, especially. That is why we always want to come to analyze, because by analysis, we're able to explain to people what they should know and the things they should understand. And in perspective to the Biafra struggle, or of course liberation movement, we have passed the stage of struggle. We're now in the liberation movement, because we're enforcing liberation in the context of the struggle. So we have come to the critical point of the liberation, and with the climax of it, where we are going to be declaring our freedom. It's very, very soon. And of course, we're going to be declaring by mounting Biafra flag in every territory that belongs to us. And at that point, when we do that and we declare Biafra, we'll expect them to come to attack. We'll expect them to come to do whatever they want to do. And then that is when we're going to seal up our victory, because God, Elohim Chukwu, is with us, and he's going to use that means of establishing our victory. All Israel needed to do was to go to the Red Sea, to walk down to the Red Sea point and wait for a supernatural, hand of God to be able to, to prove that God is actually with them, what was going on. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Kelechi Ambrose, as I told you, and this is Biafra Global Network. Please subscribe to this channel and then share the video all around. Now, of course, most of us, I'm going to be playing a very vital video that will set the basis for the analysis today. And of course, most of us have seen this video, but sometimes we need to look at this to for us to reason, because the important thing that would happen to any human being is to have the ability to reason. That makes you different from animals. Animals only utilize instinct, and instinct is just a prompt within that you don't need to reason about. It's natural. It just comes on you. It's on you, or sorry, it's in you, and you just carry it out based on the fact that it is part of you. It is built. It is like a factory fitted, process and procedure, or factory fitted feature that expresses itself without your input. But when it comes to reasoning, it is determined by your ability to get information, process the information, and then exude the information. That is when we now begin to talk about whether you are wise or you're foolish. So this is the realm where we're talking about. Most of our people are just not able to reason properly. And that is why we come with analysis, with situations and things for them to understand what is happening, and then to be able to, read in between lines to understand basically how this relates to them, how this relates to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, how this relates to the ideology, how this relates to the liberation process, and how this relates to their freedom. Because fundamentally, every fight that we are fighting and everything that we are doing is tilted towards freedom, and freedom comes when everyone is free. It doesn't matter where you are, or what you are, or who you are. As long as you are a Biafran, you are not free yet, unless we collectively declare our freedom. So if you are abroad and you think that you are having a good life, your children, your extended families or whatever. You have built a good house in Biafra land, or you have a business somewhere and you are doing some things, and then you think that you are free and you are financially free and you are everything, you are okay, you are comfortable, and you don't see it as a priority to liberate yourself and liberate your family, liberate the nation, then you are just a slave who has been given some privileges that can be taken from you any moment, wherever you are found. The only freedom that you can enjoy is the freedom of maximum, maximum freedom for everyone. Maximum freedom, total freedom. It is not being financially comfortable. That is not freedom. You are just, still in slavery and just doing what you have to do in the midst of slavery. Now, today's topic is critical and crucial, and we're going to be dealing with this topic today because we have seen a lot of activities, a lot of fights, a lot of situations, and a lot of attack on the cause of our freedom. And of course, we know that these things will always come. Whenever good things are going to come, there will always be challenges and attacks. But I want you to understand, Biafrans, that those who are against us are few. If you remember when Elijah was praying, when Elijah was in the place with his servant, and then the armies of Syria were coming, of Assyria were coming anyways, and then the servant, Gehazi of Elijah was so shocked and was so worried, and he was telling Elijah, he was saying, you see, there's a huge army coming against us from the Assyria. Of course, the Assyria, it was also, you should understand that at that point in time, it was the Assyrian Empire. The Assyrians were strong all over the world. They were in charge, they were in control. Hence, their soldiers coming with that might to the house of Elijah and also into the nation of Israel was significant. So it was not as if it was something they could easily deal with and all of that and handle, but it was significant because the Assyrians were actually pressuring Israel, dealing with Israel, frustrating Israel, holding them siege, stopping them from just causing them to suffer hunger and all of that by blockade. The same thing that happened to Biafra during the war and blockade, and of course still happening to us by blockading our economy. That means in Biafra now we are under economic blockade. Our seaports are not working. Our airports, we don't have international airports. Even the ones we have are just school, secondary school playgrounds, And then we have so many industries and all of that cannot be. The place is not a place where you can easily invest and also thrive because the government of the business empire called Nigeria, being supervised by the Caliphate and being sponsored by the British strongholds and colonial powers, is under, they have held us in economic hostage. We're in economic hostage, just like what happened during the war. We were held hostage. The place, Biafra land was surrounded. Air blockade, sea blockade, land blockade, food was not coming in, and all of that. That was what starved millions of our people to death. Millions of our people to death. They were not killed because they were hit by bullets or whatever, because they couldn't at all penetrate Biafra land at all to actually cause so much casualties. And we were strong enough, but because of those those blockades, we were restricted and we didn't have means of feeding our people. We didn't have means of reinforcement. We didn't have means of funding everything that has to do with the war and the things we have to do, both land, sea, and of course air and all of that. And so our people starved, and that was what, it was so painful to look at children dying, women dying, and in hunger. And it was so much pressure on the government of Philip Effiong after Ojukwu flew, out of the country. Of course, the pressure was on him so hard, and he had to fly and go, and then handed over to Philip Effiong, who became the president automatically. And then it was so much that he observed the death and how people are dropping, children are dropping dead and all of that. And it was too much on him. He had to come and declare and say that we were surrendering. And that was why it seemed as if we were defeated, even if they were trying to make it look nice, saying it was no victor, no vanquish, and all of that. We know it was just a political statement. Britain had already concluded that they succeeded, and the Nigerian system also concluded they ceded, and then they started giving rules and all of that. We're going to be talking about this British, operation in Nigeria, in that contraption called Nigeria, bringing the people together and all of that, and then the role of the Queen and all of these details in the next broadcast, that is tomorrow, Saturday. But today we're going to be looking at those people who have been bankrolled by Soludo and co. Of course, Soludo representing the Caliphate, and of course the politicians and all of that being under the Caliphate. So we are looking at Soludo, how he's bankrolling this, because from in autopilot and mood that we are in, we always operate in a very fantastic and unique way. And how do we do this? We always come with evidences, and of course the evidences we always come with are always evidences given by the enemies. They would always sell themselves and also reveal to us what they are doing and what they are saying. So we have evidences of the enemies, confirming their collaboration with those people who have been sacked within us. But we're going to know who those people are, those people who have been supposed by your. Well, that is why I want you to come with your reasoning, so that you can reason out. You don't come with sentiment, a mind of sentiment, where we are created to reason. Don't come because it is your brother or your sister or whoever. Come because you want to reason. If my brother and my sister are erring, I would reason out the facts and then be able to tell them constructively that they are erring, and then be able to tell them, if they refuse to amend their ways, to be able to tell them we can move together, we can work together, because we can't agree. We need to work together to be agreed. So we need to agree. Sorry, we need to agree to be able to work together. So now we're going to look at it. Soludo made a very, very significant speech. That is why I want you to reason. We're going to analyze that speech line by line or word by word to dissect and get information from that speech. You don't need to have a video where Soludo is giving, or the Nigerian government is giving some people money for you to understand that they actually sold out. You don't need all of that. If you observe the situation from the time Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was extraordinarily renditioned or kidnapped, and then extraordinarily renditioned to the point where they began talking about political solution just in a short period of time between June and August. They had already concluded July, August. In 2 months, they've already concluded a political solution for an election that's going to be holding in September. Within 2 months, that political situation was when people should be angry that their leader has been kidnapped, and they are supposed to be showing some kind of actions that will make these people understand that for taking an action against a leader of 70 million people is tantamount to an insult on everyone. That the thing just happened fresh. We expected every Biafran to be aggravated, to be annoyed, and things happening to prove to the enemies that we're not joking, that they have done something very wrong and something very, very significantly evil and something very significantly unacceptable. Yet they had the guts to sit down to discuss political solution, meaning that this plot had already been on ground, meaning that the plan had already been on ground. They knew that another election will not hold with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu being present, and also in extension, that the 2023 election too will not hold, because of course we have raised the dragon flag. The dragon flag will never allow election to hold. That's the truth. You can't raise the dragon flag and expect things to be the same. And so it was significantly evident that they actually carried the actions to be able to silence the whole process of what they understand by the raising of the dragon flag. They knew that the raising of the dragon flag is significant. They knew that. Raising of the dragon flag is very significant. Hence, every action at that point when that dragon flag was raised would definitely become very, very significant to the zoo, or to the contraption, to Britain, and then significantly positive to the Biafra movement, and that the freedom of Biafra was already at hand. They knew all of that, and so they took action. and the action was in collaboration with some certain people who actually were within and who are within and who sold out. Now, who are these people being bankrolled by this man? Let's first of all look at the. I don't want to play, the interview, or sorry, not really the interview. Anyways, the interview, of course, was not fully explained when Uche Kanu was granting that interview. She never actually explained fully what she meant by, the symbiosis, the and all of that, and all of the what she was saying, talking about the cells and mitosis, and the splitting of the cells, the all of that through the process of the tissues and to the process of the organ and all of that. She not actually never explained who she was actually calling the exoparasite or ectoparasite, whatever she was trying to mean at that point, and then she never really explained all of those details. And then but I've been able to explain all of these details. If you go to my write-up the day after, the Sunday after, when she made that broadcast, I made critical analysis of what DOS actually means and what the analysis she was giving actually meant. And I explained further and better for her to understand that her analysis was flawed because she couldn't actually put it in perspective, and I actually put them in perspective and asked her questions to clarify the fact of who and the people she's actually referring as ectoparasites and all of that. And they have to, if they want to work together, they have to come to the point of symbiosis. Of course, in the point of symbiosis, we talk about commensuration, and we'll talk about mutualism, and then we'll talk about being parasitic in that level of symbiosis. So all of these details were enshrouded in the context of the symbiosis, but she didn't explain actually who she was talking about. So when I made that that post and writing a letter to her publicly to analyze what she actually meant and then asking her questions, she now came openly. They decided to hold another meeting for her to use that. They knew that coming to make an interview again will mean like will mean like a blow to them, because they are responding to us asking her to come back for another interview to explain herself. So what they did was now to organize a talk show or whatever they call it, a program, calling it family meeting, which that is how they see freedom fighting, just holding family meetings and then organizing protests, and then waiting for the courts to give order. Look at freedom fighters, they're waiting for courts to give orders to determine how you move and what you do, determining when you have your freedom and with the actions you take, waiting for the court to give orders to free a leader who is against that court and who is against the government that instituted a court and against the system that court is operating under. You are waiting for that system to give you justice. You are insane, significantly insane, and you need psychological attention. In fact, it is either you are being wicked, you know what you're doing, or you actually are not thinking right. These two factors actually means that you are senseless. So now, I now gave the analysis and she came out. And then in that party, she now made some statements. She now talked about how much they have been doing, the underground works they have been doing. She now explained what she meant by underground work by talking about the protest of the women. And then she talked about the protest they have been engaging in. And then she now also talked about the courts, simply meaning, with people with common sense will understand that what she actually meant was that all the underground work they've been doing is relating to having family meetings, waiting for the court process, and then the protest they have been carrying out. As simple as that. That is what it meant. And so now she explains that. But now, for us to be able to marry what she said, the things she has said, the actions of these sacked people, and the sacked officers of the DOS, of course, I've told you before, and I've told you several times that DOS is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. DOS is not any other person, because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is an epitome of the ideology, and DOS represents the ideology that is passed on to us that are the cells in different tissues, like the tissue of the media platform is a tissue having a cell like me and other people who make up the cell, and then we have the end branch of the people who make up that tissue, which of course individuals there are the cells, and then we have the Eastern Security Network, and of course you can see that there's a video going around of the sacked people, the sacked officers of the DOS, which the Biafra people have sacked. The video going around where they are showing off some group of people they have brought together, giving them a particular uniform and giving them the this beret, this fake beret, that does not actually carry the symbol of the IPOB as the way ESN actually have it, and the symbol of Biafra as ESN will always have it. They are displaying them, and I've told people, I said they are few, we are more. So leave them. It's just like what I was trying to explain to you. Elijah said something to Gehazi when Gehazi saw the armies coming. Gehazi was frightened and he was telling Elijah, he was saying, see, the Assyrians are coming. Oh my God, we're in trouble. The Assyrians are coming. Elijah just said, don't worry. They can handle them. Gehazi was wondering how are we going to then. Elijah just said, Lord, open his eyes, let him see those who are with us. Let him see those who are with us. Suddenly, Gehazi's eyes were opened and he saw a huge army that can't be counted. He saw massive army around them. That was when he realized, his eyes became open. Now he is operating in knowledge. So in that realm of knowledge, he was no more scared, because he now knows that those who are with them are more than those who are with those people. The same way also, when you see all those videos being flaunted and all of that, don't worry, those things will be taken care of. They are one of those things. They want us to fight ourselves, but we will handle them very well. Just understand that we are more than them. They are just few people who are just gathering. They want to put fear in you and make you afraid, and so that you begin to panic and get distracted. That's what they want to achieve. But you should understand that should not count. Right now, you are actually a different species, and you are actually having more than they have. So leave that issue. So we're going to be looking at it. Who is bankrolling and who are those being bankrolled? Of course, we know who is bankrolling. We know that the government of Nigeria, in proxy with the politicians of all the states, and in proxy through the politicians of all the states, and then controlled by the British, they are the ones bankrolling other people. Now, who are they bankrolling? Now, from Uchechi's speech and everything she has said and what these people have been doing, we'll now listen to Soludo now talk. Please watch this video, and then after watching it fully, we'll now begin to take the things line by line, what he has said.
The allegations of IPOB and all of that, but IPOB has come out and emphatically stated, and I believe them, that they are no longer part of this criminal gang, as it were. And they are now working with us. And we'll probably see their own actions in the next few days. And the people are waiting to see what they can or cannot do to join us. And we called on them on the day of our inauguration that if you are not part of this,
I'm going to play it one more time so that you can hear it again.
The allegations of IPOB and all of that, but IPOB has come out and emphatically stated, and I believe them, that they are no longer part of this criminal gang, as it were. And they are now working with us, and we'll probably see their own actions in the next few days, and the people are waiting to see what they can or cannot do to join us. And we called on them on the day of our inauguration, that if you are not part of this,
I'm really sorry, I don't know. I think the network is actually affecting the video from showing, out. But when the network gets better, I'll play it again so that you can see the video in full. But of course, you can hear the voice there. Now, we're going to take it one after the other here. Let's look at it critically, because we don't have much time. We have less than, about 32 minutes to round off this broadcast. We don't go more than 1 hour, so that we'll be able to have our people sit, at least use the time to actually get the whole details they need to get in a short time. So listen.
The allegations of IPOB and all of that, but IPOB has come out and emphatically stated, and I believe that they are no longer part of this criminal gang.
Now listen, he said that IPOB has come out and emphatically stated that they are no more part of this criminal gang. Now the question here is, who are the criminal gangs, and how come IPOB was initially characterized as part of the criminal gangs? He said no more part of this criminal gang, meaning that IPOB was actually part of a criminal gang, but now they have come to say they are no more part of the criminal gang. Let's go back to it. Remember, the Southeast governors actually recommended for IPOB to be classified as a terrorist organization, meaning they have been criminalized and making it illegal, and the terrorist action must be taken against them, because as terrorists, that means they have to deal with IPOB as terrorists, which means they have now accepted, the government of Nigeria now adopted it very quickly through their courts, that IPOB is a terrorist group. So that tells us that that is the source. That's now why. Now let me ask you a question. Why were they classified as criminal or terrorist organization? Because they were refusing to abide by the government's dictates, or the government's will to surrender the issue of Biafra and allow things to be normalized and allow things to go on the way the government wants it. Because of the agitation, that was why IPOB was branded a terrorist organization, because of the agitation. So now, in this context, he says that they have refused now, they have decided and confessed and said that they are no more part of these criminal gangs. That means IPOB became criminal because they were fighting for freedom. Of course, we all know that as at that time, when IPOB was going around, they were going around even without weapons. They were going around and declaring, making protests and all of that, and screaming for Biafra and making everywhere and shaking everywhere and gaining grounds and all of that. And the government of the contraption called Nigeria, in being sponsored by the Southeast governors who projected for IPOB to be branded terrorist organization, that means criminals, was actually effected. And so as soon as that was effected, it was written that IPOB is a criminal gang, it's a criminal organization, it's a terrorist organization, and that means they will be treated that way by the law and by the laws of the flawed place called Nigeria. So now, his statement that they no more belong to that criminal organization, it's not actually talking about kidnappers, thieves, and robbers, and all of that. No, that is not the basic fact. It is related to the fact that IPOB was labeled a terrorist organization. So they were criminals at that point, when they are criminals based on their own thinking, by their own judgment, by the judgment of the Nigeria system and the Caliphate and all the politicians. By their judgment, they are insinuating that IPOB is a criminal organization. And so now Soludo is now saying that IPOB has decided, they are saying that they are no more part of the criminal organization. They said IPOB is saying that they are no more part, which means that IPOB actually accepted that they used to be part of it and they are no more part of it. Now, what does that tell you? It simply means that statement of IPOB being criminal because they were fighting for Biafra, and now a group of people coming out to say they are no more part of that crime of fighting for Biafra, simply means that there are a group of people who actually have denounced the idea of fighting for freedom, which made them to be branded criminals. I don't know whether you're in the picture. He said IPOB has come out to emphatically say that they are no more part of the criminal. Why were they called the criminal gangs? Now, why were they called criminals? Because they were fighting for freedom. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was there then when they were criminalized in 2017. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was there, and everything that was being done was not criminal, only focusing on freedom. Now, they were called criminals because they were focusing on freedom. Now, a group within us comes out to say we are no more part of that criminal gang, or we are no more part of fighting for that freedom. Because what made us being branded as criminals was because we're fighting for freedom. Now, this group now says that we're no more part of that fighting of freedom, which you call crime, or which you call made you call the group IPOB a criminal organization. Because the only fact and the only thing that has made IPOB to be called a criminal organization by the Nigeria contraption is because IPOB is fighting for freedom. So if freedom gives us the tag of criminality, or gives us the tag of terrorists, or gives us a tag that we are criminals, then a few of us within us goes out to tell those people who called us criminals because we said we are fighting for freedom. They called us criminals because we said we want to be away from Nigeria. They called us criminal because we are saying we are no more interested in the impunity and all of that. If they called us criminals because we want liberation and we want freedom, and a group of people now within us now say that, oh, we have now changed from being criminals to becoming your loyalist, it simply means that those people are actually saying that since you call them criminals because they are fighting for freedom, we are no more fighting for freedom, so we are no more criminals. I don't know whether you're getting the picture here. Now, if you look at it with the actions of those people who are now fighting the autopilot movement, or the autopilot strategy, or the autopilot mood, you will discover that it's concurrent and significant with the actions. Now, when they went into political solution, it was evident that they had actually deviated from being criminals, in quote. That means they are no more part of the crime of fighting for freedom. Thank you so much, Nwokoro. Thank you so much for that compliment. Thank you so much. That means they are. Let me get your caption on my platform, because I always do that whenever I receive a caption. I put it there so that people can see. Now, they are no more criminals because they have left the fight for freedom. That is what Soludo is trying to say. Because Soludo now is saying that they were criminals when they were fighting for freedom because they have been tagged criminal organization based on the fact that they were fighting for freedom. Now, some of them now have repented from being freedom fighters. And so they are no more criminals because they are no more fighting for freedom. That's what he said. I'll play it again so that you will hear what he said, so that you understand it, so that you can get it right and get it the way he said it. Listen to it again and listen to it again to that point.
The allegations of IPOB and all of that, but IPOB has come out and emphatically stated, and I believe them, that they are no longer part of this criminal gang.
Did you hear that? IPOB has emphatically stated, they have come out all out to emphatically state that they are no more part of the criminal gang. No more. They are not part of the criminal gang. They are no more part of the criminal gang, which means that he was not referring to the autopilot. He was referring to the group of people who have been sacked. How? The autopilot says we're not criminals. We are fighting for freedom. We don't say we are no more criminals. We say we are not criminals. We are fighting for our freedom. Fighting for freedom is not a crime. That is what autopilot stands for. Autopilot says we are fighting for freedom. You can call us criminals, but if you think that you want to call us criminals because you are fighting for freedom, so be it. Now, this group comes out of IPOB. Those who have been sacked, they say to you through Soludo now, they're saying that they are no more part of the criminal gang, which means they're trying to say is that they are no more part of the freedom fighting, because why we are called criminals is because we are fighting for freedom. So they come out to say to the world and to say to Soludo and to the politicians that they are no more criminals. That means remove us from the book of your tagging us of terrorists, tagging us to be terrorists, tagging us to be criminals, based on the fact that we're actually fighting for freedom. Now we are no more, we are no more part of the criminal gang. That means the whole of IPOB is a gang, according to them. And then a group comes out of IPOB and says we are no more part of the criminal gang. If the whole gang has been called criminals because they are fighting for freedom, and now a group comes out of that gang that have been tagged terrorists and says that they are no more part of this gang, which have been called criminals because they are fighting for freedom. It simply means that this gang, this group of people are no more, who have come out of this gang, are no more fighting for freedom. That's what it's saying. Now, listen further. We're going to get more facts from this. Now, we have been able to establish the fact to know those who actually, remember, we had some people who went to them for political solution. So, which means that he is actually talking about those people who came to talk with them. The autopilot team, under the leadership of Mazi Nnamdi Okay, I think I'm okay. Network has been restored. Thank you so much. Now, I hope you can hear me clearly now. Now, I'm going to play this video again from the beginning. Please watch.
As it were. And they're now working with us. And we'll probably see their own actions in the next few days. And the people are waiting to see what they can or cannot do to join us. And we called on them on the day of our inauguration. That if you are not part of this, come.
All right. Now, I'm trying to bring it onto the screen. I don't know why it's not coming to the screen. Anyways, we can minimize the screen. So let me see if it's going to come to the screen. Please bear with me, Sarah, please. I want us to listen to it. Okay, if it's not coming to the screen, let me play it again so you can
hear. Allegations of IPOB and all of that. But IPOB has come out and emphatically stated, and I believe them, that they are no longer part of this criminal gang.
IPOB has come all out and emphatically stated that they are no more part of this criminal gang. They are no more. Please, let's get the languages very well. He didn't say they are not part of this criminal gang. He said they are no more. Why did he say no more? No more means that there has been an understanding that this group of people called IPOB are criminals. There has been this notion that they have passed all this while to the people to make people believe and to make the international community believe that this group of people called IPOB are criminals. One moment, please. All right, we're back. Now, which means that this group of people have been called criminals because they are fighting for freedom. Remember when the courts tagged IPOB as criminals? That means they call them terrorists. That means they're criminals. Now, what that simply meant that the whole of Biafrans, the Biafra nation, was now called or is now called terrorists or criminals. Now, a group of people within us now go out of us and now telling the government of Soludo, who is representing the Caliphate, to tell them that they are no more part of this criminal gang, these people you call criminals who are fighting for freedom. We're no more part of them. Now, let's look at it critically. Now, let's listen to it further so we can get what they're trying to say.
As it were. And they're now working with us.
They are now working with us. It's Autopilot, the team of Autopilot under the leadership of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, being supervised by the spokesperson of Biafra, Mazi Nnamdi. Are we working with Soludo? We're not working with him. Remember, we actually were against the election. But there was this, of course, at that point in time, there was this huge manipulation that was on that couldn't make the refusal to join the election effective. But of course, we have come to understand right now, and people have come to understand that this election thing was it was just a charade, and it was just a kind of plan to deceive and mislead the people for the initial intention of kidnapping Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They knew that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu being present, as long as that dragon flag has been raised, there will be no election. Other times, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have been permitting. When he says there is no election, he will still permit it because the dragon flag had not been lifted. But this time around, the dragon flag has been lifted. And if you listen to the voice and the language of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, from that time, the dragon flag was lifted. His voice changed. His method changed. His approach changed. He was now talking tough and preparing the minds of the enemies to know what is coming. And he was now saying that we are close to our marching, which means that you cannot be marching and holding election. Is it possible? There's no way you can marching for your freedom and you want to hold election with the enemy. Your enemy cannot set an election and you go and join in the election and you want to march for freedom. It doesn't make sense. You first march for your freedom. Once you are free, you can now relax to hold an election. That's how it is done. You can't march for freedom when you have allowed yourself to follow the program of the enemy. The enemy said, which will fill 4 years for them. They said they want you of an election. The enemy designs an election and they want you to be part of it. They want you to be part of it because they want you to endorse another 4 years of their control over you. And now Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have said that we are marching very soon. We have entered the autopilot dimension and we are marching very soon. Of course, we have heard lots of prophecies and lots of things. Even the way this new dimension and this autopilot came about, all of them were said by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He talked about the new dimension. He talked about the autopilot, and of course, Prophet Ngila talked about the new dimension and autopilot. And lots of people have been talking about it. I have even talked about it before, not knowing that it coincides with all the balance. Because we now understand the language after the lifting of the dragon flag. The dragon flag simply means that everything that will happen from henceforth is not going to be as usual. Things have changed. They knew that. They now kidnapped him. As soon as they kidnapped him, they now quickly, with these people who now were part of, how do we know they are part of it? Within 2 months of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu being kidnapped and renditioned, these people, extraordinarily renditioned, not just rendition, extraordinarily renditioned, these people had already gone into political solution to make sure that in September, the election of Anambra holds. Can you imagine that your leader, somebody who is a leader of over 70 million people, was kidnapped, and within 2 weeks, those who were supposed to be enforcing his words were already having a political solution to allow an election that will endorse the enemy in the context of a dragon flag lifted. Dragon flag has been lifted, and yet a few people were approaching the issue of the dragon flag with levity. They were endorsing the program of the enemy. In 2 months, when we are supposed to be given the zoo, the hell for kidnapping our leader, when everywhere was supposed to be on fire for kidnapping our leader, when there's supposed to be boycotts and everything, and some restrictions, posing some kind of serious restrictions, what serious-minded people would do who are truly in freedom fighting. The serious things they were supposed to be doing, they never did it. They were going into political solution. What is political solution? When it comes to politics in Nigeria, the first thing that matters is the money. Ghana must go. Look at the elections. Ghana must go back, filled with money and all of that. Will go with anything that has to do with political solution means exchange of money in Nigeria. Political solution means money, transferring money into hands. Political solution simply means money changing hands. Political solution simply means bribery, corruption, lobbying, and all of that. So you can't tell me that they sat down with Chike Doziem and Co and Muhammad Abbas and say, please allow the election and then we'll release your leader. No, they actually give them money. Please force your people not to create any situation that will stop the election. Make sure that you instill the no election and you destroy the no election idea. Make sure that this sit at home stops. Make sure you allow the people to come out. We know that this man will not come out of dungeon, of course, because we also were targeting 2023. So we have to keep him in cell. Because if we know he is out, the dragon flag being raised by him and he's supposed to march, they are supposed to march based on the fact that the dragon flag has been lifted. They know the meaning of the dragon flag. So they know that lifting the dragon flag means that things will not be the same. There will be no election. There will be no way we can compromise. There's no way we're going to sit down to talk anymore. Because you can't talk anymore. The only talk that would come in is the referendum talk. As much as the dragon flag has been lifted, the only talk that we can now talk well is the talk of freedom. So Soludo is now saying they have agreed to work with us, meaning that political solution was critically an agreement even before this announcement he's making, because it was the political solution that he's talking about here. They agreed to work with us, we the politicians. So freedom fighters leaving the realm of in quotes, the realm of criminality or the realm of terrorism, which they tagged us because we are freedom fighters. Because we say we want our freedom, they tagged us. These few people now who were sacked now left us after they have succeeded in allowing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to be kidnapped and extraordinarily rendition tortured. That is why you see that in my broadcast, I always put his picture behind so that you would always remember. Most of us are forgetting. We're now being distracted. Most of us are now thinking of something else. You forget too quickly, Biafrans. Look at this man behind me. Look at that mood. You think it's easy for him? You think he was comfortable like this? You think he's happy being that way? You think he did it for himself? He did it because he wants us to be free. That is why you see him in that mood. This was about 10 or 11 days after he has been tortured in Kenya. Tortured, and look at him. He's looking older than his age. A young man of 50, early 50s, looking older than his age because of the torture he received in Kenya. In pain, he couldn't even sit upright, where you see him behind me here. If you remember, if you check the other pictures, you see a soldier or one of the DSS men trying to hold him upright to sit well, because they know he was under serious pain. He couldn't hold himself. He was shivering. His muscles were collapsed. After going through this kind of pain, our people are still looking and spitting on the face of this man, just like they did to Jesus. Spitting on his face by adopting election. You are a wicked soul. Something is wrong with you. You are a wicked soul. Now look at it. This man, Soludo, said, they are now working with us. Let me play it again. Let me play it again so that you can hear it. You can hear him. Let me play it from beginning to that point where he said it, so that you can hear him very well.
Allegations of IPOB and all of that, but IPOB has come out and emphatically stated, and I believe them, that they are no longer part of this criminal.
No longer part of this criminal gang,
as it were. And they are now working with us.
No more part of this criminal gang. No longer part of this criminal gang. Who are the criminal gangs? Those who are fighting for freedom. Those who are fighting for freedom are the criminal gangs. Oh, yes. In fact, this is, thank you, Ma, for this submission. She said that the husband is doing well. The husband is very comfortable. He's more comfortable than us that are. I didn't want to talk about this in this broadcast because my tomorrow broadcast is going to actually cover this, because I'm going to go in extensively, this same time, Biafra time, tomorrow, to talk extensively on that, her state, the speech, and everything she said, because we need to begin to expose all of these details. We need to begin to talk about these things. We need to begin to get Biafrans to understand line by line all of these facts. His wife, Uchechi, told the world that her husband is doing marvelously well in DSS dungeon. or in custody of DSS. Doing well. And now here also, these ones are saying now that they are no more part of, no more. They didn't say we are not part of the criminal gang. Because when you say we are not part of the criminal gang, it simply means that you are now telling them that we are terrorists. What we are fighting for is freedom. But now you are saying you are no more part of the criminal gangs. That the criminal gang, which means that you actually tagged us criminal because we are fighting for freedom. Now we are coming out of that, that gang that you tagged, criminals because they are fighting for freedom. We are now coming out of that gang, and we are no more part of that gang you tagged freedom fighters, or you tagged them criminals because they are fighting for freedom. We are now part of you. We want to work with you, the politicians. What kind of freedom fighters are these? And we have Biafrans who are still holding on to them, these e-frogs, jumping from one post to the other to gossip and to comment and to prove how stupid they are. Talking about these same criminals. So shocking. So shocking. He said they are not working with us. Now listen to him carefully.
And we'll probably see their own actions in the next few days.
And we will probably see their own actions in the next few days. If you observe the way he was saying it, I don't know why it's not coming on screen. I would have loved it to come so that you can see it properly. He said, we will probably watch, because they know that people are no more believing, based on the fact that the initial election held in Anambra was distasteful to the people. The people were not comfortable with that election. So they knew that the people were already angry. They already know that the people are angry with these sacked people, these sacked officers of the DOS. They already know the people are angry with them. So he's now saying, probably let's observe, let's see how they can be able to, what they can be able to do, what they will come out with, the concept they will come out with, to make sure that they try to enforce what the politicians want. I'll play it again so you can hear it. You can hear it properly. You can hear it very well. Listen to it.
And I believe them that they are no longer part of this criminal gang, as it were. And they are now working with us. And we'll probably see their own actions in the next few days. And the people are waiting to see what they can or cannot do.
People are waiting to see what they can and cannot do. Let's see their own actions. Let's see how they are going to try to suppress this freedom fighting, this call for no election, this fighting the status quo of what we have been doing all these years, this fighting our political ambition. Let's see what they can come up with. Let's see what they can do and not, because we know that the people are no more supporting them. We know that people are no more supporting them. So let's see what they can do. Let's see what they can offer. They actually have sold out. These are the people that have composed another security outfit, knowing that they are no more. Don't you see it, that they are no more in control of ESN? Because ESN is fighting for freedom. Just like they went with the politicians to work with the politicians. The politicians are not fighting for freedom. We know that. So if you're working with politicians, what are you working on? What basis are you working with the politicians? Because you can't tell me that Soludo wants you to have Biafra. If he wants you to have, he told you that he's going to, before election, he was making it look like he's going to bring everybody together. He now was elected, or has been elected, and now he's proving to you that he is coming for you. He even told you that he's going to the ESN camp to get these criminals. And he said they are kidnappers, they are criminals. And now he said they are kidnappers. And then he's taking military to the camp to attack the kidnappers, when you know that the lives of those they have kidnapped will be at risk if they are kidnappers. But you're going to their camp means that you know they are not kidnappers. Who are those people helping him to do this? The same people who are working within us. All this while they were not able to locate these camps. How come suddenly they are able to locate these camps? Because these few people came out and said they are no more part of freedom fighting. So indirectly, they are no more part of criminals. Because what Soludo said, that those who are fighting for freedom are criminals. Now they have said they are no more part of criminals. They are now working with them. So now Soludo was able to identify all of these camps because of these people who are now working with him. And who are these people who are working with him? As simple as that. Listen to the comments of Uchechi Kanu, and in collaboration with those people who are with him there, and how they nodded and how they were so excited about the whole talk and all of that. You will now know those people that are being sponsored. Muhammad Abbas, Chikodoziem, and co are being sponsored by these people. He said, now we want to observe and see what they can do. Listen.
To join us. And we called on them on the day of our inauguration.
We called on them on the day of our inauguration, after the agreements they have gone, into allowing the election to hold. They now call them to form the basis of their security approach. What do you mean by security? That means countering the freedom fight. Because after the inauguration, now he has taken over power. He has now become the governor. So he needs something to quell, to destroy that fight for freedom, so that he will stay in office for the next 4 years, or if possible, the next 8 years. To complete this process of 4 years or 8 years, he needed to still continue, or to still have the support of this of IPOB, using these ones who have come out of it to say they are no more interested they are no more interested of freedom. They are no more interested of freedom. They are not part of freedom anymore. They want to now work with Soludo to make sure that his power, his tenure is completed. So he now sits with them again to discuss further. He said during the inauguration, we continued our discussion, we continued our deliberation. I called them up and we sat down to discuss. Now, every action you see them carry now is sponsored by this group of politicians and the Caliphate. Because after the inauguration, they now start properly. Now we have achieved the first round. Then second round of stuff is to make sure that my tenure continues, and to make sure that 2023 election goes on, so that, because if it doesn't go on, my tenure will end. And if it doesn't go on, of course, we know that the international community will come in, meaning that there's no Nigeria. So we want the election to hold. We want the election to hold. So now we need you also to cooperate, just like you succeeded in making sure that the election was held in September 2021 for me to come in. Now we have to make sure that this election holds. Because the reason why we captured this man, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, which is behind me now, right now, the picture behind me right now, is because we don't want this election to hold. And now we've captured him, but now it seems like some group of people, or the IPOB, is still insisting and being supervised by Mazi Nnamdi. They are even becoming very more, terrible than we expected. We thought we were going to quail this whole thing now, but we are discovering that they are now. So we need your services. How do we go? You are people who have worked inside of the caucus. You know Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, you helped us sell him. You helped us capture him. Now we have captured him. Now these people are still proving tougher. Now we need your services. Now after the election, I have called you on for this inauguration. During this inauguration service, let's now discuss how we're going to do. Now listen.
That if you are not part of this,
let me play that again. Play that again.
Us. And we called on them on the day of our inauguration. That if you are not part of this,
so the day of our inauguration, we already have been able to succeed to the point of the inauguration. Now we want to make sure that we complete this. If truly you are not part of them, you have allowed this election to hold, maybe because you wanted money and you have gotten the money. Now you may also begin to fight us with the same money. But if truly you are not part of them, come, let's talk how the way forward. Now we have completed we have gotten the election, we have gone into office. We need to now make sure we secure this. If you truly are not part of them, come, let us now reason together and talk together. That is what you have seen so far been playing. All the new gangs, all the new criminality and all of that is going on, all these are plans and plots they have been paid to execute. I'm going to explain this further in the next broadcast. This time tomorrow, Saturday, Biafra time, I'm going to speak further on this so that you can understand with the stories and the things that Uchechi Kanu said and all the details she gave. I'm going to be saying this, talking more on this tomorrow. Please join me same time, Biafra time. I may still come later in the day to discuss some other critical issues, but tomorrow is going to be dedicated to Uchechi's statement and all of that, and linked to what Soludo is now saying and all of that. We're going to be doing all of this. Please subscribe to this channel and share on all your social media platforms. Let the people understand. We need to open the minds of our people. The most important thing is for our people to be educated so that they will understand what is going on, and then we know that we are more than them. We will succeed. Just like Elijah said, the people with us are more than these people, and they won. Thank you so much for being part of this. My name is Kelechi Ambrose, and I see you again tomorrow. But hopefully I may come this evening again for another broadcast. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Enjoy the rest of the day.